Okay, so everyone is talking about the AI revolution in software development, right? But here's the thing. There's this huge gap between the hype and what most companies are actually seeing. Let's dive in and figure out what the top performers are doing that's so different.
I mean, the promise was, and still is, absolutely massive. For decades, we've had these limits on software, developer shortages, crazy project complexity. Gen I was supposed to just smash right through all that and unlock a ton of new value.
But for a lot of folks, the reality has been, well, a little underwhelming. A recent McKinsey survey of almost 300 companies found that, yeah, most are getting some benefit, but there's this tiny elite group of organizations that is just pulling way, way ahead of the pack. So, what's this number all about? 45%. That is the improvement in software quality that these top performing organizations are getting with AI. I mean, come on, that's not a small adjustment. That is a total game changer. So, what in the world is their secret? All right, in this explainer, we're going to tear down their playbook. We'll start with this AI productivity gap. Then we'll unpack the 5 key things that separate the leaders from everyone else. We're talking 2 huge foundational shifts and 3 critical enablers. And then we'll wrap up by looking at what it really takes to be AI-driven. So, first things first, let's really get a handle on this performance gap. We're not talking about a small difference here. It is a massive chasm between the best and the rest. And check this out. This shows you the sheer scale of the advantage. The top companies are seeing up to a 45% jump in software quality, and they're getting up to 30% boosts in both team productivity and how fast they can get to market. These aren't just numbers on a slide. This is a serious competitive edge. So, the big question is, how do they do it? Well, it's not some magic tool they bought. It's a whole playbook, really, built on 5 core practices. Let's break down exactly what sets them apart. And this chart just says it all. I mean, look at this. Nearly 2/3 of the top performers are using at least 3 of these 5 practices. And for the companies at the bottom, that number drops to just 10%. The data couldn't be clearer. This kind of success is systematic. It's not an accident. So, here's the playbook. It really boils down to 2 big shifts and 3 things that make those shifts possible. The shifts are implementing AI from end to end across the whole development lifecycle and creating new AI-native roles. Then you support that with personalized training, measuring what actually matters, and aligning everyone's incentives to make the change stick. Okay, let's really dig into those first 2 shifts, because this is where the magic starts. This is about moving past just playing with AI tools and actually rebuilding how you operate from the ground up. And here is the absolute crucial point. The bottom performers are just using AI for little one-off tasks like basic code completion. But the top performers, they embed AI across the entire process. We're talking from design and coding all the way through testing and deployment. Turns out they are 6 to 7 times more likely to have scaled 4 or more of these use cases across that full lifecycle. The AI native startup Cursor is a perfect example of this in action. Their developers have a whole suite of AI tools that work together. They're collaborating in real time with AI agents to write code, they're using other agents to do tasks in the background, and they even have an AI bug bot that reviews code before a human even lays eyes on it. See? It's not just using a tool, it's a totally new way of working. And the big vision here, as Cursor's CEO Michael Truel says, is to get developers out of the tedious, line-by-line work so they can focus on what really matters: designing the logic, the architecture. It's about elevating the developer, not just automating them. And that, of course, leads us right to the second foundational shift. The jobs themselves have to change. As AI stops being just an assistant and becomes a real collaborator, the roles have to evolve with it. And you can see here how these roles are changing. With AI handling a lot of the routine stuff, product managers can stop just managing backlogs and really focus on the bigger picture: design, responsible AI. And software engineers, now that they're freed from some of the coding grind, can focus on super complex system trade-offs and full-stack architecture. Those old, rigid boundaries are starting to blur. But here's the thing: those huge shifts can't happen in a vacuum. They absolutely have to be supported by these 3 critical enablers. Think of these as the support systems that make that new operating model actually stick. First up, training. Yeah, most companies offer some on-demand courses, but the top performers, they invest in intensive hands-on learning. 57% of them are doing workshops and one-on-one coaching. Compare that to just 20% of the bottom performers. And it makes sense, right? You can't learn something like prompt engineering from a video. You have to get your hands dirty and actually practice.
I love this quote from Tariq Shaukat, the CEO of Sonar. It just perfectly sets up our second enabler, measurement. It is so easy to focus on the wrong things.
And that's exactly what the data shows us. The lower performing companies, they get stuck on vanity metrics, like how many people are using the tool. But the leaders, they track what actually moves the needle, the outcomes. A whopping 79% of them track software quality and 57% track speed. They're measuring real impact, not just activity.
And building a system like this is actually a pretty clear three-step process. First, you have to pick metrics that actually mean something to the business. Second, you integrate the tracking so you get one clear picture. And third, you report on those insights all the time to keep everybody focused on what matters. Okay, the final enabler is all about change management. And this number says it all. Almost 8 out of 10 top performers link AI-related goals directly to performance reviews. And not just for developers, but for product managers too. This creates real accountability and makes sure that driving impact with AI becomes part of the day job, not just some side project. So when you put this all together, the two big shifts and the three enablers, you start to see that becoming truly AI-driven is about so much more than just buying new software. It's a complete transformation of the entire organization. You know, the path forward for any company that wants to join these top performers is pretty clear. You've got to set ambitious goals, create a real blueprint for your new operating model, and then build a detailed roadmap to get there. The biggest thing, though, is the mindset shift. You have to treat AI as a catalyst for transformation, not just another tool in the toolbox. So I guess that leaves us all with one final, and I think pretty critical question to think about. This is really the difference between just dabbling and actually dominating. Is your team just using AI, or are you brave enough to start rebuilding your entire organization around it?